Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to pull back the curtain on something most men completely miss, something that can make or break your connection with a woman. I'm talking about intimacy, the kind that goes beyond just physical touch, beyond casual conversations, and straight into the deep electric connection that she's craving, but rarely tells you directly. Now before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Trust me, you don't want to miss the truths I'm about to reveal. Here's the hard truth most men don't understand. Women don't hand out signs of intimacy carelessly. If she's showing them to you, music, it's not by accident. Every lingering glance, every brush of her hand, every subtle shift in her tone, it's a breadcrumb trail that leads straight to her heart, to her desire, to the part of her that's silently screaming, I want you closer. I want you in my world. And yet most men are blind to it. They wait for grand gestures or bold words, missing the quiet, persistent signals that are screaming louder than anything she could ever say. I need you to pay attention here because this isn't just about noticing her. It's about understanding why she's doing it. Women crave connection in ways that are instinctual, emotional, and sometimes terrifyingly vulnerable. When she drops her walls, even in the tiniest ways, she's risking her heart. And if you don't recognize it, if you don't respond correctly, that risk can turn into withdrawal, into pulling back, into a connection that was possible, slipping through your fingers. Music. So here's the first shift in thinking. Intimacy isn't only physical. Music. It starts in moments you might think are insignificant, like the way she laughs at your stupid jokes or the way she leans in when she talks to you about something personal. These moments aren't coincidences. They are windows into what she wants, into what she's willing to share, and they are begging for your attention. If you can learn to spot these moments and, more importantly, understand what they mean, you will unlock a connection that most men only dream about. The signals are there, the invitation is there, but can you read it? Can you rise to meet her in that space without misreading, without overthinking, without turning something sacred into something shallow? That's exactly what we're going to decode today. Now let's talk about the first unmistakable sign a woman wants intimacy with you: her eyes. And I don't mean just a casual glance. I'm talking about the way her pupils dilate when she looks at you. Music. The way her gaze lingers longer than necessary, almost as if she's trying to pull you into her world without saying a single word. This is primal, instinctual, and it's often subconscious. When a woman is drawn to you, her body reacts before her mind even realizes it. Her eyes are broadcasting a truth she may not dare to speak out loud. Here's what most men get wrong. They think intimacy is about touch or sexual advances, but eyes are the doorway. A woman who wants closeness will use her eyes to test the waters, to measure whether you're tuned in, whether you're awake to her signals. When you catch that look, it's not flirtation. It's a quiet music plea for connection, a question. Do you see me? Do you want me to? And this is where most men falter. Music. They see the look, but they don't act. Or worse, they dismiss it as casual interest, and I need you to understand this deeply. Ignoring these signs doesn't music just cost you a moment. It costs trust. It costs emotional investment. Because every time she reaches out with her eyes, she's saying, I'm letting you in, don't close the door. Responding is about more than acknowledging it. It's about matching it. Lean in with your presence. Hold her gaze just a fraction longer. Show her with your attention that you understand what she's offering, without needing her to spell it out. Intimacy starts here, before music words, before touch. It starts in the silence between glances, in the electricity that hums under a shared look. And this is where the real game begins. If you can read her eyes, you can feel her desire. You can sense what she's ready to share, what she's holding back, and whether she's testing you to see if you're worthy of her vulnerability. This is why most men fail. They wait for her to verbalize her feelings. But the truth is, she rarely will. Her eyes speak first, louder than anything she could say. The question is, will you be awake enough to hear them? Will you meet her there, or will you keep missing the invitations that have been right in front of you the whole time? The second sign a woman wants intimacy with you is in the way she mirrors your actions. Now, this is subtle and most men completely overlook it. It's not about copying you like a child, it's about synchronization and unconscious alignment that tells you she's attuned to your energy, your presence, your very rhythm. Watch how she laughs when you laugh, how she shifts when you shift, how her gestures subtly match yours. This is her body saying, I want to connect. I want to be in tune with you. This is one of the most powerful and underrated signals. Women mirror because they feel safe with you. Music, because their subconscious is saying, I can open up here. I can show who I am. When she's mirroring you, she's testing intimacy, probing boundaries, seeing if you respond in kind. And make no mistake, if you don't notice this, music or worse, if you fail to reciprocate in subtle ways, she'll pull back. This is delicate territory. Here's the psychology behind it. Humans are wired to connect. Our brains are constantly scanning for people who are in music sync with us, who understand us without words. Mirroring is her way of saying she's ready for that connection. Every gesture, every mirrored movement is a silent invitation to step closer, to match her, to show that you can meet her emotionally as well as physically. The key for you is awareness. Stop thinking she's just copying you. That's a mistake most men make. They reduce this to mimicry, to flirtation, to something trivial. It's not music trivial. It's trust in motion. She is letting you see her rhythm, her comfort. Music, her desire to sync with you in a way that's intimate, invisible to the untrained eye. Respond by subtly matching her energy, her music tone, her gestures. Let her feel that you are present in her world, not just as an observer, but as someone willing to harmonize with her. Intimacy is born in these silent, music-invisible exchanges. It's in the small gestures, the shared laughter, the tiny synchronizations that speak volumes. When you start seeing and responding to these signs, you're no longer just interacting. You're connecting on a level that most men never reach. You're entering the space where vulnerability and desire meet, where she's silently asking for more and only you can answer. Pay attention to her movements. Pay attention to how she mirrors you. Miss this and she may close that window before you even knew it existed. Recognize music it, respond, and the door to true intimacy swings wide open. The third sign a woman wants intimacy is in the way she touches you, or sometimes almost touches you. And I mean this in the quietest, most almost imperceptible ways. A brush of her fingers on your arm, a hand lingering just a moment too long, a shoulder bump that seems accidental but isn't. These touches are testing the water, feeling the space between you, exploring whether you can meet her desire without needing words. This is where many men completely blow it. They see a touch and dismiss it as casual, friendly, or accidental. They fail to recognize that women often communicate their deepest intentions through subtle physicality before they ever speak them. That brush, that linger, that coincidental contact, it's a whisper from her subconscious saying, I want you closer, I want connection, I want intimacy. Here's the crucial part. She's vulnerable here. Every touch she gives carries risk. She's exposing a side of herself. She doesn't show everyone. She's inviting you into a space where most men either ignore the signals or mishandle them, which is why so many connections die before they even begin. Recognize this, and you're not just seeing a touch. You're seeing an opportunity to respond in a way that deepens trust, desire, and connection. You need to understand timing, context, and subtlety. The power isn't in chasing the touch or overanalyzing it. The power is in acknowledging it mentally, in letting her feel that you're aware, that you're present, that you understand the invitation. Sometimes that means holding eye contact a beat longer. Sometimes it means leaning in slightly, letting the air between you hum. It's never about rushing, it's about awareness, responsiveness, and emotional intelligence. Intimacy isn't forced, it isn't abrupt. It's in these small gestures that she's creating a bridge between her comfort music and her desire. Every time you meet her subtle touch with presence, patience, and understanding, that bridge strengthens. Every time you ignore it, misread music it, or fail to recognize it, that bridge weakens. And in relationships, romantic, emotional, and physical, the bridges you build with care are the ones that carry you to real connection. So start noticing, pay attention to how she grazes your hand. Music, how her fingers linger near yours, how accidental contact becomes intentional in her body language. Music. This is not small. This is intimacy in its purest, most delicate form. Miss it, and you'll never know what could have been. Recognize it, respond consciously, and you enter a space where desire and connection fuse into something undeniable. Now that you've seen the signs, it's time to understand the psychology behind them, the why behind her actions. Women don't give these signals lightly. They are wired to protect themselves. Music to measure safety, to test whether the man in front of them can meet their emotional and physical needs without breaking trust. When she leans in, mirrors you, or lingers with touch, she's silently asking, "Can I let my guard down with you?" And this is where most men completely misread the situation. The truth is, intimacy is terrifying for many women. It's not just about sex, it's about exposure, about letting someone into a part of themselves that is raw, vulnerable, and unfiltered. If she feels even the slightest judgment, if she senses confusion or hesitation, she'll pull back. That's why understanding these signs is crucial. They are not casual signals. Music. They are invitations, tests of your awareness, patience, and emotional presence. Here's the deeper layer. Her actions are subconscious. She may not even realize she's mirroring you, lingering with touch, or using her eyes to communicate desire. Her body is giving what her mind may be scared to speak. She's navigating a landscape of trust and attraction. And your role is to read the map. Every subtle gesture, every micro expression, every almost touch is a clue to her inner world. If you respond correctly, you unlock something far more powerful than physical intimacy. You create emotional closeness, a bond that feels rare, electric, and deeply personal. Many men fail here because they try to rush or overanalyze. They look for obvious cues, blatant signals, words that aren't there instead of tuning into the invisible language of her body and mind. That's a huge mistake. True intimacy comes from matching her rhythm, respecting her boundaries, and responding to the signals that are already being sent. The more attuned you become, the more she trusts you, the more she opens herself to you. Understand this. Every lingering gaze, every mirrored gesture, every delicate touch is a test of whether you can handle her vulnerability. If you fail, the door closes. If you succeed, you step into a space most men never reach, a space where attraction, desire, and emotional connection converge. And once you understand this psychology, once you can see her signals for what they truly are, you move from being just another man in her life to someone she feels deeply connected to, someone she wants to let in fully, intimately, without hesitation. Now, let's talk about what to do when you see these signs, how to respond in a way that builds trust, desire, and intimacy instead of blowing it. This is where most men fail. Music. They notice a look, a touch, a mirrored gesture, and they panic. They overthink. They either make a move too quickly or freeze, leaving her feeling unseen and seen, misunderstood. The key, music, is presence, awareness, and subtlety. Responding correctly is an art, not a rush. Start with your energy. Women are hyper aware of it. If she's signaling, she's feeling safe enough to test the waters. Music, and your energy communicates more than words ever could. Be calm, grounded, and confident. Don't react with desperation or overeagerness. Let her feel that you are emotionally anchored, that your presence matches hers without overwhelming it. That's how trust grows. That's how desire deepens. Next, mirror her energy without copying her. If she leans in, lean in slightly. If she lowers her voice when she's near you, subtly soften your tone too. Match her rhythm in a way that says, "I'm present." Music, "I see you. I get you." This is not manipulation. It's connection. You are meeting her where she is, validating her signals, and showing her that she doesn't have to spell out her desire for you to understand. Timing is everything. Don't rush intimacy, but don't ignore it either. A lingering glance deserves a lingering response. A subtle touch deserves acknowledgement, even if it's just through a meaningful look or a gentle reciprocal gesture. These micro choices signal to her that you're attuned, that you understand her vulnerability, music, and that you are worthy of the closeness she's testing. Finally, listen more than you speak. The true power in responding lies in observation. Every micro expression, every hesitation, every almost touch willing to let you in. Respond with patience, presence, and respect, and she will begin to lower her walls fully. Music, ignore or misread these cues, and she will retreat quietly, testing the next man to see if he can meet her where you could not. The men who master this do not force intimacy, they nurture it. They recognize the signals, match her energy, and move deliberately. The intimacy she desires is not a goal to chase, it's a space to cultivate. And once you step into that space correctly, you're no longer just another man to her. You're someone who awakens desire, trust, and deep connection with every glance, gesture, and touch. Now, it's time to understand the mindset that makes a man irresistible when a woman is giving these signals. Most men fail not because they don't notice, but because they don't embody the energy that draws her in. Music. Women are wired to sense authenticity and confidence. Anything less, and the subtle signs vanish. If you want her to fully open up, you must become the kind of man who meets her vulnerability without fear or confusion. Start with self-possession. Women crave a man who is emotionally anchored, who knows who he is, and music, who doesn't need her validation to feel whole. When you are grounded, she can feel it instinctively. She can relax, let her guard down, and allow herself to test intimacy without anxiety. Confidence here isn't arrogance, it's quiet certainty, a magnetic calm that reassures her subconscious that you are safe and capable of handling her emotional depth. Next, develop patience. A woman will not rush intimacy if she senses haste. Every lingering glance, every brush of touch, every mirrored gesture is a step she is carefully calibrating. Your ability to wait, observe, and respond appropriately signals to her that you understand the rhythm of connection, that you value her boundaries, and that your attention is intentional. Patience is sexy because it shows respect for her inner world. Vulnerability is another cornerstone. Ironically, the men who are magnetic are not the ones who mask themselves behind toughness. They are the ones willing to show emotional depth. Sharing a thought, admitting a subtle fear, or expressing a nuanced feeling signals to her that intimacy is safe with you. She senses it at a cellular level. She feels the alignment between what she wants and what you can offer, someone capable of both strength and emotional presence. Finally, music cultivate awareness. Your magnetism comes from reading her signs without needing them spelled out. The subtle movements, glances, and touches are not random. They are invitations. When you understand what she's really asking for, music, and you respond with presence and energy that matches hers, the space between you ignites. Desire, trust, and connection are no longer fragile. They become inevitable. This mindset, anchored confidence, patience, vulnerability, and awareness changes everything. It allows her subtle signs to transform from quiet tests into a shared rhythm of intimacy. When you embody it, you don't chase, you attract. You don't need to beg for attention. You become the man she instinctively wants to let in deeply, fully, without hesitation. Now let's bring it all together. You've seen the signs, her eyes, her mirroring, her subtle touches. You've understood the psychology behind them. And you've learned the mindset that makes a man magnetic. But knowing isn't enough. True power comes when you take all of this and move with intention, awareness, and emotional precision. This is where ordinary men fail, and where you have the opportunity to step into a space most never reach. Start by noticing the signals in real time. Don't wait for the perfect moment or for her to spell it out. Every glance, every brush of her hand, every synchrony is an invitation. Respond with presence. Meet her energy without overthinking. Let your body language, music, your tone, and your attention communicate that you understand her vulnerability and that you respect it. Music. This is how desire deepens. It's quiet, powerful, and unspoken. Next, cultivate a flow of tension and release. Women crave a dance between closeness and space, between intrigue and comfort. Allow her to approach, to test, to offer signals. Respond in a way that encourages her to reveal more of herself. Subtle touches, matching her rhythm, maintaining eye contact. These are your tools. Each one amplifies connection, builds trust, and ignites desire. The goal is not domination or control. It's co-creation of a shared emotional experience, music, that feels electric and inevitable. Timing and patience remain your secret weapon. Music, never rush intimacy. Let it grow organically. Every moment you respond thoughtfully. Music, rather than reactively, reinforces the safety and trust she's offering. She is giving you rare access to her inner world. Treat it like the treasure it is. The stronger your awareness and restraint, the more intense her attraction becomes because she senses that you can handle her fully, emotionally and physically. Music. Finally, embody the man she is drawn to. Confident, grounded, patient, attuned, and emotionally present. When you do, these subtle signs will no longer be fleeting. They will evolve into a profound connection, a shared intimacy that feels rare, magnetic, and irresistible. She will not just want closeness, she will crave it, music, because you have mastered the art of reading, responding, and nurturing the quiet signals that most men ignore. Remember this? Intimacy is not something you chase. It is something you earn moment by moment, signal by signal, choice by choice. When you recognize her cues, meet her energy, and hold space for her vulnerability, you step into a power most men never understand. The power to create intimacy that lingers long after the moment has passed. You become unforgettable. You become music, magnetic. You become the man she wants fully, deeply, without